Secretary, was the meeting posted? Item number 1 on the agenda.
Minutes for the meeting from September 25th, 2014.
Discussion from the board.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Commissioner McGovern, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, please.
Excuse me, I'll take a special one-day license application to sell and dispense malt beverages and wine only, or either one. Tracy Martino of Aramark. At the Allen House, 2 Solomon Way, for Friday, October 10th, from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. for Fado Songs of Portugal.
You state your name for the record, please.
Tracy Martino, General Manager, Song Center, Aramark.
Tracy, what's going on that day?
It's just a Portuguese reception with Multicultural Affairs Department, just beer and wine and Portuguese food.
Who's supplying the beer and wine?
I am,
Through who?
through Merrimack Valley.
Great. Discussion from the board.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Commission will now take up the application for a special one-day license to dispense wines only, Elaine Wood, for Saturday, November 8th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., this being an art exhibit opening at the A.O. Lofts Gallery at 172 Middle Street.
Good evening. State your name for the record, please.
Elaine Wood.
Elaine, what's going on that day?
There will be an opening for an art exhibit at Airlofts Gallery. There'll be a video installation and prints on the wall, and there'll be light refreshments in addition to the wine.
Have you held a license before, Elaine?
Not me personally, no.
Okay. You understand it's, your name is on the permit for that day?
Yes, I've read the regulations.
Okay. And who's supplying, who's your distributor for that?
I don't know the name. The person, the bartender that's doing, he did the purchasing for the one that Barbara Gagel had that's happening right now.
Secretary Wynn, do you know where we're getting this? Secretary Wynn, do you know who's?
Barbara Gagel's reception's on Saturday, and he bought from a distributor for both events because he's the bartender for both events. His name is Jeff Hart.
I have not found out what source Ms. Gagel had for her event last week. She didn't say the source or her distributor or from where the alcohol would be coming from. So I trust when she addressed the commission at our last meeting on September 25th, she did indicate that she had a source for that, but she didn't declare it at the meeting, so I didn't find that out.
Yeah, Jeff
But-
purchased hers and ours at the same time, and I don't know, the name of the place. He's been doing this for art galleries for quite a while.
So the understanding is that you would not go to a package store to get your
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay. Once again, you have the police right by your cell phone, have the police number right there on you, and you understand the responsibility is all yours.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion from the board?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
sirs.
Good luck with your event.
David Cobb? Okay. Number 4 on the agenda is a public hearing on the application for Outback Steakhouse of Florida LLC. David C. Cobb is the manager of record for the licensee, the alcohol beverage restaurant licensee at 28 Reese Avenue. This application is for officer change in stock issuance and transfer. It's change in the corporate officer, the chief financial officer, and also that the parent company that holds the stock for a number of the Outback interests has 100% owner of the licensee, that's Bloomin' Brands, Inc., has gone public with its stock and made it, has now transferred and issued new stock as a public company so that the shares of the stock could be purchased through the stock exchange. Mr. Cobb is representing the company, but he is primarily the responsible person here in Lowell for the restaurant at 28 Reese Avenue. The attorney handling the application is the Marcus Law Office. One of their legal counsel is Joe Devlin. filing the application on behalf of Outback, addressed the board in stating that this is one of a number of Outback restaurants affected by this transaction, of which involves Bloomin' Brands, Inc. It would not have any direct bearing on the operation of Outback here in Lowell. I'm sure Mr. Cobb can attest to that.
Counselor Rossetti, everything looked good on here from your perspective, legal perspective?
Pardon me, Mr. Chairman, yes, thank you. I didn't see anything here. Certainly, the board can ask the witness whatever questions the board wishes so that the board is satisfied, as the secretary mentioned, that there's no interruption to the operation, that this was barely a transfer from private ownership to public stock
Just going to a
ownership.
public stock, that's basically it, right?
Right.
Okay. Any questions, discussion from the board? No? Motion approved by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McGovern. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Was that easy enough for you?
Pretty easy.
Good
Thank you very
job,
much.
good job, you did well. Thank you, Counselor.
Commission will now open a hearing on the allegation of misconduct against the licensee Boomy Liquors, Inc., doing business as Pacific Liquors. The manager, I'm sorry to state, is not on the agenda, but it's Illa Bagat. This is an all-alcoholic beverage package store licensee at 421 Central Street. This is an allegation of violation of Chapter 138, Section 34, pertaining to the sale, delivery, or furnishing of alcohol beverages to persons under 21 years of age. The Lowell Police Department had conducted a compliance check, and this particular licensee apparently was accepting the purchase of a quantity of alcohol in which the sales clerk did not ask for an identification prior to allowing the sale to go through.
Good evening, Counselor. State your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Larry Bean on behalf of the Boomy Liquors Incorporated that does business as Pacific Liquors. And
Counselor, would you like the complaint read into the record?
I don't believe it's necessary. We do not contest the facts as stated.
Okay.
I have with me today the president of the corporation, Vimal Patel, his wife, Ila Bagat. As I stated, we do not contest the facts as stated in the report. This did, in fact, occur. There's been no issues with this license prior. Both offices of the company and the manager of the company reside here in Lowell. They take this extremely serious, what happened. The individual who did serve the individual that night, and we do not offer this as an excuse, thought that he knew the individual and that he was a common customer that had come in. Again, we do not offer that as an excuse. This individual is the brother-in-law and brother, respectively, of Eler and Vimal. He has been retrained. He has been tip certified. This will not happen again. This is the first time it's happened, and it'll be the last time it'll happen. All individuals who work there have been retrained. They have a card everyone policy, no matter how many times they come in, nor how old they appear. They do have a license checking machine in there. Obviously, we understand you have to ask for the license in order to use that. And from now on, every single person coming in that door will be carded and their license will be checked. We ask, because this is a first violation, that they just be given a warning.
Secretary Wynn, any prior complaints against Pacific Liquors?
This particular licensee has had the business for only 1 year, actually, 1 year and almost to the day. And this would be the first instance where they didn't ask for an identification when the police were conducting a compliance check.
Pretty quiet over there, Captain Kennedy, or?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. We've never had any issues over there, and, you know, it appeared that the ownership of the business takes the violation, as counsel alluded to, very seriously, and we appreciate that, but there have been you know, aside from this particular instance, that there have been no illegalities or instances or illegal conduct prior to the evening in question.
Question, Counselor, if I may, to your client. It was your brother-in-law that this happened with, right? Is that correct, Counselor?
BV, Ela's brother and female's brother-in-law.
Okay, so when he was initially hired, what was the training with the clerk initially? Because now we're only talking 1 year into business, and
He used to work for the other beer and wine store in the Groton. So,
he used to own one?
no, he used to work over there.
Used to work, okay. Well, what type of, I guess my question is, what kind of training did he go through with you?
Well, my wife trained him, you know, she stand with him.
Can you just stand up to the lectern, please? Thank you.
Yeah, my wife gave him a training for the couple weeks, you know, she stayed with him and asked her to, you know, check the ID.
Okay, I'll ask your wife the same question. What kind of training did your brother-in-law have before working with you?
Every person, every customer comes, he asks for the ID, you know,
Okay.
and make sure he's okay, not checking date, expiration date, age, everything, you know.
Okay, questions from the board?
Yeah,
Commissioner Krieger, I'm sorry.
this is a serious problem. I mean, he should be IDing his own sister. But it's the first time, and I think that it would be reasonable to do 2 days held in abeyance or even placed on file for future reference in case something comes up.
Commissioner McCarthy or Commissioner McGovern, anything further?
No, I have no questions.
Commissioner Krieger, you said and/or. Are you making a motion for the 2 days with 2 days held in abeyance, or you just want to place this on file?
I move we place it on file.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. Obviously, this is your first time here, but you've only been in business for a year. Worries me a bit, okay? Your attorney has stated that everybody has been retrained at the package store, so it's safe to assume that we won't see you here again, correct? Okay. There was a motion by Commissioner Krieger to place it on file, second by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck. Be
Thank you.
careful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I'll take up number 6 on the agenda. This is in regards to an application for transfer of the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license. The application is filed by a corporation known as Mill City Ballroom, Inc., Joel Asadorian, president. From the licensee of record, Beck's, Inc., doing business as Brian's I.B. Hall, Kevin Hayhurst, president. For the premises at 74 Merrimack Street, 3rd floor only, ingress and egress along north and south stairwells, 1 room for bar, restaurant, nightclub, approximately 4,400 square feet. This is a matter for the board to consider discussion as to a suitable time that they possibly may want to consider for scheduling a public hearing on the matter. Just, if I may, just say to you that 2 of the representatives for Mill City Ballroom are present in this room. Not that they were expected to be here or anticipate that they may address the board, but for the sake of the commission, just as I did a memorandum to the board yesterday on outlining the circumstances of this particular application and particular licensee of record, that is, Beck's, Inc. As a follow-up to that communication, I just want the board to understand that I did have a conversation with Mr. Kevin Hayhurst late this afternoon. He called the office indicating that he had been trying to reach his attorney, and it sounded to me from the conversation that he would like to see this matter move forward. He is anticipating preparing to meet all his obligations to the city of Lowell as well as to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Specifically that the corporation Beck's, Inc. is a dissolved corporation and still remains dissolved. And apparently, based on my conversation and not pressing the issue with him because it's not my purview to do so, but I just got a sense that he's looking to, like I said, move forward if possible, and with his attorney, and get the things straightened out so that, in anticipation that there could be a public hearing, it would meet all of the obligations that a licensee is required as far as tax obligations to the city and to the Commonwealth.
Mr. Chairman, it
Yes,
seems to me that number 6 and then following number 7 are pretty close to each other, and we might just consolidate them for purposes of our discussion.
Secretary Wynn, why don't you read number 7 as well? We'll take them jointly.
With respect to the item number 7 on the agenda is an application for transfer of the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license the application by a corporation known as Mill City Suds, Inc., Joel S. Dorian, President, from the licensee of record as Hayhurst Group, Inc., doing business as Finn's Pub, Kevin Hayhurst, President, for premises at 7686 Merrimack Street, unnumbered door north side, 2 unnumbered doors south side of building, first floor, 1 room for restaurant and bar area, approximately 2,460 square feet. Second floor, 1 room for restaurant and bar area, approximately 2,797 square feet, basement for storage. Again, this is not unlike the matter to do with the Beck's licensee, Hayhurst Group. However, there are different circumstances that the licensing board has to deal with respect to this licensee, not so much a dissolved corporation, but the fact that this particular licensee has a suspension of license that is held in, the city has been enjoined from imposing that suspension, or have the licensee serve that suspension pending a hearing on an appeal of the licensing board's action to suspend the license for 30 days. The principals involved in Mill City Suds are well aware of the Finn's license suspension. The matter of an appeal hearing to be scheduled before the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission has not been decided upon at this time as far as a date for a hearing. In my conversation with Mr. Hayhurst, again, late this afternoon, apparently he's aware that through his counsel that there may be an attempt in some way, shape, or form for possible resolution to that matter of a suspension of license, recognizing that Mr. Hayhurst would like to leave the business of operating this restaurant in the city within a reasonable period of time, if possible.
Okay. As Secretary Wynn stated, you didn't have to be here today, but I do appreciate it if you don't mind stating your name for the record.
Joel Asadorian, president of both of the companies in question for 6 and 7.
Okay. Obviously, in reading some of Ryan's notes here, seems that you've had a few meetings with him and pretty much understand what's going on at this point in regards to Beck's Incorporated and the Hayhurst Group. Is that correct to him? Am I correct to assume that?
I have a relatively well understanding of it. I do not have control over anything that's happening from Hayhurst Group or Beck's Inc. I'm simply here to answer any questions on the part of our application possibly, and in any way to help expedite the situation.
All right.
Mr. Chairman?
I think before
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on. Before this board delves into any discussion, I think it might be prudent to listen to our legal counsel and maybe giving us a little update of where we are. I mean, it looks as though, in reading Ryan's emails here, that the applications look fairly complete, but we're looking, it looks to be as a certificate of good standing from the Department of Revenue, that's not up to snuff. Attorney Rossetti, can you deem some light on this whole thing?
Sure, I can. I'd like to raise a couple of matters. First, just for purposes of record clarity, I would recommend that the commission make it clear and receive an acknowledgement from the gentleman that he understands that this is not a public hearing on the application. So I would recommend that the commission elicit that acknowledgement from Mr. Asadorian before the conclusion of this portion of the hearing.
Well, I think it's stated
Secondly,
on the agenda that way, though, that we are here just to schedule a public hearing.
the gentleman did indicate that he'd be happy to answer any questions.
Right,
so I
we're not
think-
going to do that tonight. Thank you.
In terms of the litigation, and as the Secretary indicated, as Secretary Wynn indicated, there has been an appeal docketed at the ABCC, but no date has been set yet for a hearing. Attorney Weicker is the attorney of record for the appellant, but again, there is no schedule that's been set for a hearing. I would caution the commission that to the extent the commission wants to discuss strategy or options, my recommendation would be to take that up in executive session.
Noted. I think you heard legal counsel, Mr. Asadorian. We do appreciate your presence here. We won't be asking you any questions tonight, though. I do appreciate your presence, and I'm sure the board agrees with you as well. So you're all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I was just going to say that we were hoping, and I do acknowledge that this is a review 100%. I understood that. And we were just hoping that we could try to resolve some of these things by, the next board meeting, October 23rd.
Thank you.
That's our request.
Attorney Rossetti, it seems to me that the ball is in the court of the Hayhurst Group and the dissolved Beck's group at this point. Is that fair to assume?
They are responsible for clearing up the loose ends that have been acknowledged, yes.
All right. I'm not sure about, in reading Secretary Wynn's email, that we could be possibly looking at maybe scheduling a public hearing for November 6th, but I guess I'll ask you, Attorney Rossetti, do you feel that might be enough time for Mr. Hayhurst and Attorney Weicker to finalize any, tie up any loose ends? Let me ask you that.
Certainly, I can't speak to the diligence that they will apply on their end to clearing up those loose ends, but certainly when a date certain is set for action, that typically prompts, can't guarantee it 100% of the time, but typically when there is a date certain, that does help to motivate action.
Understood. Comments from the other commissioners, please. Commissioner Krieger.
Yes, sir. If the past amounts due are paid, this all gets cleaned up, and we vote approval, say on the 6th of November, does that automatically end the appeal of Mr. Hayhurst to the ABCC, or does that go forward anyway?
As a matter of litigation docketing, the ABCC right now is going through the papers filed on behalf of the appellants. Those payments would not keep the ABCC from moving forward with the hearing on the appeal of the suspension order. So, again, I would go back to what I mentioned earlier. To the extent the board wants to or is contemplating options or wishes to receive from council possible options for the pending litigation, I would recommend that the commission go into executive session to have that discussion with council.
Yeah, I really don't want to get too deep into this right now. I mean, the agenda item is to put this on for a public hearing, and I think that's where it should be, and I don't think any further discussion is worthwhile at this point. Though I would open up to Commissioner McCarthy and Commissioner McGovern for any further questions.
I have none.
All right. Why don't we do this? I'll make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for November 6th.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. basically, Mr. Azadorian, the ball's in Mr. Hayhurst's court at this, as they would say. And well, hopefully we see him and you on, for a public hearing on November 6th. Hopefully everything is cleared up by then. Thank you. Appreciate your presence.
So if I may just reiterate, basically, the License Commission will hold 2 public hearings, one for each application, the application filed by Mill City Ballroom, Inc., and the application by Mill City Suds, Inc. Each application will be a public hearing, 2 public hearings for Thursday, November 6th at 6:30 p.m. in this room, the council chamber. There will be 2 legal notices published, not less than 10 days prior to the date of the public hearing, November 6th, anticipating possibly, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I would anticipate the second to last Friday in October would probably be that date of publication.
Yep.
It'll be in about 13 days from the time in which the hearing is held. At that time, the commission can make its decision one way or the other. If it's not satisfied, if there's no compliance with the tax laws of the Commonwealth or the City of Lowell, certainly the commission may then entertain taking no action or not approving the application. It's within the realm of possibility. It's not like anyone would think that this is a final answer on November 6th, so.
Okay, public hearing November 6th, Commissioner Krieger.
If the tax matter hasn't been cleared up, is there any point in having the meeting scheduled?
Well,
Going to the effort of sending out the notice and so on.
This, I just, if I may, with due deference to the legal counsel here, is that, Attorney Rossetti, is that the licensing authority has within its authority, that is, to take action if they find cause for not approving an application. And as if you were to look at what we see as unpaid taxes to the City of Lowell, and if that is not, obligation has not been met by that hearing date of November 6th, then you have within reason to not approve the application at that time, just on that alone.
I understand that, but I think we're in the business of encouraging business, so
Well,
the question is, why put them through the problem of publishing notices if the taxes haven't been paid? I mean, there's a time compression aboard sometime in late October.
Well, here's the point. Mr. Asadorian and his business partners have filed applications. What you've done tonight is you've given him the benefit of having a public hearing on his applications. And we're meeting the state obligation of the licensing authority to act on an application within 30 days. And that would be within a 30-day period. If Mr. Asatorian, dealing with the seller, can't come to terms with this tax issue prior to the public hearing, then that's a problem that he'll have to deal with the seller, I should say. The licensing authority, the license commission, can weigh whether it's reasonable to think that there would be some resolution of the tax issue, if not before, soon thereafter the hearing. So you're basically giving Mr. Asadorian and his business partners the benefit of having a hearing. He can answer all your questions. He can have legal counsel at the public hearing. He can have the seller here with you, and the seller can have his legal counsel present. And this will meet
So in essence,
the licensing board's obligation.
In our essence, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing,
Exactly.
plain and simple. So we're having a public hearing on November 6th, and we'll see where the cards lay. at
And
that
it also
point.
allows the residents in the downtown in particular
Correct.
to
Yep.
weigh in on this matter.
Yep.
Whereas now, if you looked at the agenda, there may be a little bit frustration on their part to think that we're going to see the same old, even if it becomes a new licensee of record. So I think Mr. Asadorian will have that opportunity and his business partners to address you and to assure this board, as well as the public, that they have every intention to run a favorable
Understood.
operation.
Okay. We'll see him on November 6th. Thank you.
If I may go to the next item on the agenda is number 8. With respect to the Executive Secretary's report, requesting of the board, if I may, informational hearing for a licensee of record known as ASDK Ram Corporation, doing business as Ramos Package Store, Sanjay Patel manager, the all-alcoholic beverage package store licensee at 77 Branch Street. This particular licensee, the circumstances of which is without premises as of this day. As we may all remember, this past summer, there was a fire at this numbered address this past summer, and the building was destroyed, and subsequently the building had been razed as a result of the fire. The Alcohol Beverages Control Commission recently had an informational hearing with this particular licensee because the licensee was seeking protection under statute, under Chapter 138, Section 25, for protection from their creditors, the liquor vendors. Apparently, and it just so happens that Mr. Patel, Sanjay, stopped by the office late this afternoon, in which he was inquiring about another matter relating to licensees, package stores, but we did speak about the situation with what his plans may be for the license. He indicated to me that he is looking at building on site, and possibly building on that site sometime in 2015. However, in this informational hearing that I would suggest the board may want to schedule, it would allow Mr. Sanjay Patel and his legal counsel to come before you to explain what it is they have specifically in mind. Even though we had a conversation, I wouldn't necessarily say, I don't have any reason to think he wouldn't be conveying some truth to it, but for the purposes of renewing his license, which he has the right to do, and that's typically done during the month of November, he also would need to justify why such a license should be renewed. And so this informational hearing would allow the board to make the determination whether renewing his license for 2015 for reasonable reasons, for a reasonable cause, and that would be up to the licensee to explain it. A statement from the licensee in writing. Generally, when you, this licensee has several options to it, and from what I understand through the statute, it can apply for building to be erected on the premises. It can apply for change of location. It can also apply for a change of location and transfer of license, which is all with what the licensing board would need to address at a public hearing. But the informational hearing would just ensure the board that if there's a filing of a renewal application, you would then, it would be incumbent upon this particular licensee to tell you what his plan is for 2015, and then you would have the option to give him a reasonable period of time to comply.
What has been, obviously an unfortunate, incident occurred there. What has been, you've been here longer than all of us, Ryan, so is there ever any past practice, that something like this has happened before?
No, nothing of this nature, other than I know where the city was doing some expansion downtown, there were existing businesses at the time that had liquor licenses, and because of the roadway construction, reconfiguration of the roadway, certain licensees' property was taken by the city by eminent domain. These licensees, under statute, could renew their license for a period of 4 years until they found another location for that license. That's allowed for under the statute if a government authority were to claim that property by eminent domain.
So I guess my question is, let's say, all right, he comes here November 6th and say he's going to build on site, but, it takes time, and let's say the building isn't erected until 11 months later.
Well,
we still purchase the license?
We've had license, I should also, to answer the question to begin with, is that there has been a licensee who's now operating his business, who for a period of about 3 or 4 years the building was existing, and the refurbishing of that building took 3 or 4 years. And it was drawn out, and it got to a point where there was some issue whether the commission ought to just let this licensee, well, essentially file for a new license when they get the place up and running, get the place ready. But nonetheless, the commission, because we have available licenses,
Right.
saw an immediate need to take the license from this particular corporation, if you will. So that's one sense. There does, and also this law allows that a licensee, an application can be filed for premises to be erected.
Okay.
And you can act on that, and the plan, whatever is submitted with that application, is subject to maybe change, again, subject to local board approval. So that if you say, I'm gonna have one room in this building for my package store, and then finally they decide, well, they wanna make it 2 rooms, then you would have to approve that 2 rooms.
Okay. Attorney Rossetti, anything else to offer there, or sounds like Secretary Wynn's got a pretty much,
I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman, yes.
that's why we have him.
He's summarized the situation.
Thank you. So, yeah, Ryan, why don't we do that? Informational hearing on November 6th as well.
Right?
All right.
6th, yeah.
Okay.
And last on the agenda is just for the board's ratification. Last week, a license for Old Gold, Silver, and Platinum had been surrendered by the licensee, a partnership, Odom Fail and Narum Fail, that's mother and son, doing business as PVM Cash for Gold, and they closed their shop at 5 Middlesex Street last week, and I have the license that's been returned to the city.
I'll make a motion to place on file.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Krieger, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move for adjournment?
Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McGovern to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Everybody have a good evening.